We now welcome to the show a 13-year NFL veteran who played most of his career in the city of brotherly love. He is a linebacker who played a crucial role in one of the most formidable defenses Philadelphia has ever seen. He's a three-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion, and a member of Eagles Hall of Fame. Please welcome to the virtual breakfast table, Seth Joyner. Seth, what's up? How you doing?
Good morning, lady and gents. How you guys doing this morning?
Hey. Good. We're doing good. We appreciate you joining us so early. Now, Seth, you have your own podcast called The Seth Joyner Show, where you do a segment called Talk to Him Tuesday. So let's flip that a little bit. Let's do a Talk to Him Wednesday. It's time to talk to the Philadelphia Eagles. What do you feel about that Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts situation?
Well, listen, Carson was drafted to be, the future franchise quarterback of this football team. This year, he's struggling. I'm not so sure that I think everybody scratched their heads when the Eagles picked Jalen Hurts this year. And I'm not so sure that everyone on board at the Eagles franchise really agreed with the pick. But this is where they find themselves right now. You have a starting quarterback, a franchise quarterback who is regressing, who's having difficulties. And it's not all his fault. You can't play quarterback without a good offensive line, without good wide receivers. You need all the complementary pieces. But you also can't be part of the problem either, and he's too much of the problem right now. So now you have a guy that was drafted to be, your backup this year. And the funny thing is, when you talk about Jalen Hurts being a backup and people say he's not ready, well, then why is he up every week as the number 2 and Nate Sudfeld's down as the number 3 deactivated if he's not ready? Because if Carson Wentz gets hurt, he's got to play the rest of the game. So you're going into games each and every week with a number 2 quarterback who's not prepared and ready to play right now. I find that kind of odd and, quite a bit weird. But this is where they find themselves right now, a struggling quarterback and a young rookie quarterback that you drafted probably earlier than you should have. And everyone, the city is divided. There are people that want to see Jalen Hurts play, and there's other people that say, hey, Carson Wentz is our guy.
It's a great take, Seth, and you've been doing it all year long, being an analyst for NBC Sports Philadelphia and Eagles pre- and post-game live, really for years now. 3 years ago, though, it's just wild to me, the highs and the lows. 3 years ago, we saw this franchise celebrating their first Super Bowl. I was just talking to Chris Long about it being one of the best days of his life just last night. They're stumbling their way now, stumbling their way into Week 13. What happened from Super Bowl 52 until now, in your opinion, maybe outside the quarterback spot?
Hey, Kay, listen, 3 years ago was the highlight of my career as well. When you're a Philadelphia Eagle, you're a Philadelphia Eagle for life. And even though I won my Super Bowl with the Denver Broncos, to be able to see this for the city of Philadelphia, for the fans of Philadelphia, it was a joyous day for, anyone who's ever worn the Eagle green. Now, what has brought about this precipitous fall, I think it's a couple of things. You can't miss on your first-round draft picks, and they've missed the last couple of years. They've been loyal to a fault to quite a few guys on that football team that, have stayed on the roster and played longer than they should have. And then I think that, Doug Peterson is struggling to find, some help since Frank Reich left to calm Carson Wentz, to get him developed. Just across the board, just talent-wise, they've made decisions even in the free agency market where they brought guys in and paid them handsomely, and they did not work out. When you make those sorts of mistakes, this is what happens with your roster, especially when you're talking about the trenches, because if you cannot control the line of scrimmage, then you cannot control the game. And right now, when you watch the Eagles play, they can't run the ball effectively, even though they're averaging, 5 yards a carry. And they're about to be, one of the few teams in the history of the NFL to average 5 yards a carry, yet only run the ball 24 times, run the ball less than 24 times per game. But when you can't run the ball and you can't pass protect, then this is what you're going to have with your quarterback. When you can't be dominant in the pass rush, and you've got pretty good money tied up on the defensive line, you're going to have problems on the back end because all of those things are interrelated. You know, you can't rush the passer unless you're covering, and you can't cover unless you're rushing the passing. They kind of all work hand in hand, you know. And then at the linebacker position, my position, you know, it's just appalling what I'm seeing. This kid, Alex Singleton, can play. I'm just miffed that it took the coaching staff so long to figure out that he can play. And now he's on the field playing. He might be the best linebacker that they have on the team right now. But they've ignored this position for years, trying to address it through free agents, trying to address it through converted safeties from college to pro, which you can't do because they don't have the true instincts to play at the highest level. So it's just a snowball effect. It's a myriad of things that have transpired with this team that has seen them go from Super Bowl champions and everyone being excited that this would be the new norm, according to Doug Peterson, to what we're now witnessing.
Seth, you know, it's amazing to talk about Singleton. He was a Canadian Football League Defensive Player of the Year. He's been bouncing around the league, and he might be their most important player on defense right now. You're spot on. And I know you know about defense, and so does Aeneas Williams. The two of you have been featured on the Legends podcast, which we know is an unscripted series, which gives NFL players and legends the opportunity just to talk. Take us through the latest episode of the Legends podcast and what you and Aeneas got into.
Well, the beautiful thing is, you know, when guys get an opportunity to kind of reminisce, you know, we talked about everything from our time together in Arizona, and you know, the misses, if you will, what we tried to do and what we weren't able to accomplish. And you know, as you get older, there's this, you know, thought, this belief in your head that you get a little bit wiser because you can be a little bit, you know, retrospective, you know, in your thoughts. So we talked about some of the things that transpired during our time together in Arizona. We talked about, you know, when Buddy took over as the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, you know, Aeneas talked about not really thinking that he wanted to be there. He didn't think he fit. And I said, dude, you fit perfect into that defense because of, you know, your skill set. And then we talked about, you know, player health. We talked about how former players spend time together and how they interact with one another, and the fact that, you know, just me personally, I've lost, you know, 4 of my teammates from the Eagles, Reggie White, Jerome Brown, Andre Waters, and Wes Hopkins, and what we need to do to help and assist each other once we exit the game. And because of how we've been born and bred to play the game, you know, you show no pain, you show no weakness. You know, you're like Superman. You bleed on the inside, but never on the outside. And how guys are dealing with the issues after the game is over and how we can assist each other. It was a really good time, not only to see Aeneas again, but to really talk through some of these issues and bring them to the forefront. I hope everyone, especially the ex-players, get an opportunity to watch it so that they can see and understand that, you know, we will always be a brotherhood because we share something that